Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Monday the 27th of April.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda. We met a pastor who's truly teaching by example.
Rwanda scraped past Somalia in Olympic qualifier.
And we give you some healthy ideas for snacks in this week's Motivation Monday.
Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Makeda Mahario. Over the next hour, we'll be bringing you all the latest news, business, and sports headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And of course, the Rise and Shine team are here with us in studio. It's a brand new week, first thing in the morning. What's going on in the world of sports?
Sports bring the marathon season is here. The London Marathon, Kenyans again dominating with Ethiopians. The Kigali Peace Marathon is around the corner and the latest from the Rwanda-Somalia situation.
Okay, lots of running happening there, I'm realizing. And I'm not mad at that. How about in the world of business?
Well, in business, we talk about a new trade agreement that's been signed between Rwanda and Ethiopia. And all I have to say is, all of you need to be doing business.
We need
Just
to be
join my
towards the money.
Come to me. This is the place to be. Trust me.
Come on over to Fidelis' side. I like that. I like that. Okay, all that and more is still to come. But first, Rise and Shine story of the day.
It's not every day that you get to meet a real-life survivor. Douglas Kigabo has been through hell and back, no pun intended. Heart complications, lack of oxygen in his lungs, you name it. Turned pastor, the man is on a mission to share his story, hoping his journey could inspire many. He has just released a book, You Are Peter, a reference to the apostle who denied Jesus 3 times in the Bible. Take a look. Back in 1998, as he was pursuing his studies at the former UNR in Butare, Douglas Kigabo was just like everybody else, living a university student life with all that comes with it. He had gotten to the point where he felt he was just a regular sinner who just had to live with his sins. These days, he's a pastor at the helm of one of the most known churches in Rwanda, the Well Salvation Church, and just released a book about finding guidance and not denying Christ.
Ce qui m'a donné envie d'écrire ce livre, c'est d'abord la voie que Dieu a empruntée pour m'appeler. C'était en octobre 1998. J'étais alors étudiant à l'université à Butare. Alors Dieu m'a appelé par la voie selon laquelle tu es Pierre d'aujourd'hui. C'est lui que je tire de la boue pour me glorifier. C'est cela qui m'a donné l'inspiration d'écrire ce livre.
He's been through a lot. Heart complications, lack of oxygen in his lungs, and as someone who can call himself a survivor, he says doctors can only do so much.
Les épreuves sont nombreuses et sont des dimensions très différentes. Il y a des épreuves spirituelles, il y a des épreuves physiques, comme tu viens de le mentionner. Toute l'année passée, j'étais malade, je ne pouvais pas travailler. J'ai même voyagé, j'ai fait 6 mois aux États-Unis pour des raisons de soins. J'étais au bout de mon souffle et j'avais perdu vraiment l'espoir de revoir la vie et la joie comme je l'ai aujourd'hui. C'était un problème cardiaque au niveau des artères, ce qui faisait qu'à un certain moment, mon cœur n'avait pas assez d'oxygène. C'est Dieu qui travaille au travers des médecins. Et il y a ceux-là qui sont entre les mains des bons médecins qui passent, qui meurent. Alors le fait que je sois guéri, c'est une grâce de Dieu.
The title to his new book is You Are Peter of Today, a reference to the apostle who denied the Christ 3 times.
C'est un témoignage d'espérance qui part de l'expérience personnelle, mais aussi de l'étude de la vie de Pierre, que nous connaissons tous dans la Bible, et qui montre comment Dieu restaure le rêve brisé par la grâce de l'autre chance qu'il nous accorde par Jésus-Christ.
I just started reading it, and I must say, if anything, that Pastor Kagabo's story is very relatable. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
seems like an interesting story. How did you find out about Pastor Douglas?
I heard through a friend that he was releasing a book. Now, I hadn't known who he was. I'm not in his congregation or anything like that. But it's a very inspirational tale because you don't have to be a Christian to understand. He went through a lot. He talks about it in the report. He had heart complications, lack of oxygen in his lungs, and that kept going on for a long time. So last year he couldn't work for the entire year. He went to the States, got treated for 6 months. And, you know, the way I found out about it is that he had empowered so many other people besides him because he got to a point where he got hopeless and he felt like, you know, he didn't have much to save or, you know, to live for anyway. So he started not caring, not paying attention to his loved ones and stuff like that. And then when he got saved, if we can call it that, he realized that, you know, he had a bigger calling than what he was actually doing. So he started really writing this book thinking it was going to affect other people that are going through whatever they're going through.
So he's comparing himself to Peter in the Bible.
Right.
Oh, tell me about that comparison.
So he's not an apostle himself, but he's saying that what Peter went through, if you read the Bible, this was Jesus' closest apostle. He became, like we call it in our jargon, like his man. So he was with him everywhere. And then what happened is, the day of him being crucified, Jesus had told him that he was going to deny him multiple times. And then Peter was like, come on, I cannot deny you. I'm your closest apostle. I ride with you. But he ended up denying him 3 times, like Jesus had said. And then right after Jesus resurrected, remember there's that tale about the ladies going to his tomb to actually find him gone. And then when they told Peter that Jesus had resurrected, he was like, okay, he's probably not going to want to see me because of me denying him the day of his crucifixion. So, you know, and then he was totally wrong because Jesus did forgive him. He remained one of Jesus' apostles, so, and a very important one too.
So tell me about the comparison that Douglas has drawn between himself and Peter. Why is it that he calls it? Does he feel like, you know, he's denied Jesus?
He does, absolutely. He talks about the fact that what he went through, if anyone else will have gone through it, even him at times, he says that you give up hope, you become hopeless, and then you feel like, you know, God is not on your side, he's not thinking about what you're going through, and, you know, obviously, you know, the human reaction is to say, well, there's a lot of things going on in the world, he's not focused solely on me, but he's saying that's not true, because he pulled through, and then he feels like by writing this book and by comparing himself to Peter's story, which was someone who thought that Jesus had turned his back on him, and he didn't, that he will actually inspire other people.
So did you get to talk to anyone, because I saw that you attended an event in the video. Did you get to talk to anyone who was touched by the story?
I got to talk to about 3 ladies that were there that are going through similar experiences. They're not having heart conditions or anything, but they have sicknesses, right. Other sicknesses, and they came there just because they heard that, you know, the book was being launched and because they wanted to talk to him in person. That was the only thing that brought them there. And you could tell, you know, some of them were very camera shy, so they didn't want to appear in the report, but they felt like, you know, this was their time to actually talk to him, so he could tell them how he pulled through, because you can go through one sickness, but when it becomes 2 and, you know, in vital organs of your body, then, you know, it's hard to keep hope. And he at times he didn't have that hope. So he's saying...
but he also had the very... he had the fortune, he was very fortunate that he was able to travel abroad to be
which a lot of people are not lucky. But he's also saying, and I like that answer in the report, at some point he says, because I asked him, I'm like, do you feel like Jesus saved you or the doctors saved you? And then he goes, a lot of people with a lot of, you know, money have the best doctors in the world, and they end up dying of this sickness. And I pull through. So he's saying it's not necessarily... the doctors do a great job, but ultimately it's God's decision.
Right. Well, it's definitely something
very
inspiring. What can I say, man?
Right.
You know, it seems like a good story. And if you're reading the book yourself, by the way, how do you find the book?
I'm starting to read the book, and I feel like if you read the first maybe 5 to 6 pages, you actually realize that he goes, like, he talks about it right away, because usually you would have to wait a little bit. He talks about it right away. He talks about how in 1998 he was a student in Butare. He was studying over there, and then there was this calling, because he was living the everyday university person, you know, student's life, and then there was this calling telling him there's more you can do than just, you know, going by your day and doing what you're supposed to do you yourself. And
you can focus on something higher.
It's a very interesting book. I recommend. I'm not the most Christian person out there, but I feel like you can always get messages from, whichever you can pull them.
Right. Well, if there's something there, definitely something to check out.
Right.
Well, you are watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Connect to Lusaka 3 times a week starting 27th March. Enjoy comfort and safety at affordable fares to 17 other destinations across Africa and the Middle East.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's get to today's business stories, or as I call it, the money. Fidelis Karangwa has the details.
Business stories making headlines today. The private sector has signed a partnership agreement with the Ethiopian Chamber of Commerce to promote trade and economic relationships between Rwanda and Ethiopia. Officials say the key areas of cooperation will include technology transfer, technical assistance, capacity building to strengthen bilateral and business relationships, and exchange of information on taxation, investment, and trade policies. The partnership is expected to unlock many opportunities for local businesses and exporters and enhance trade between the two countries. Frequent blackouts are said to be hurting manufacturing and mining subsectors despite ongoing efforts to solve this problem. The shortages are partly attributed to the existing old infrastructure, with most power stations requiring an upgrade. With a local tin smelting industry having lost about $200,000 as a result of the power surge, there is growing fear that the country could miss out on the $4 million revenue from minerals by 2017. And the Dar es Salaam port is set for a major facelift that is expected to happen to help double the cargo volume in handles by 2020. The project will involve the demolition of parts of the port in order to increase the working space. Once completed, the port is expected to handle 28 million tons by 2020 from the 14.6 million tons it handled in 2013 and 2014.
So tell me, what do you have for the rest of the week for us in business?
Well, it's almost end of the month, almost my favorite time of the month, of course, for most people as well. But you know what that means in business is it's time for Meet the CEO. And I have to say for this month, it's someone special, someone that I think very many young people find very inspiring, especially for us upcoming CEOs. Right. We're going to learn so much this week.
All right, looking forward to it. Lovely.
For sure. Well, you're up to date today's business headlines. Post news coming up next in just 10 minutes with Arnold Pizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news. I'm Arnold Quizera. Starting with football, Rayon Sports have suspended attacking midfielder Jerome Sina indefinitely after the player went missing for weeks. The Congolese midfielder last played for the club in the 3-0 defeat to Zamalek in the Orange African Confederations Cup first leg last month. He missed the club's 4-0 win over Etincelles early this month and the 1-0 win over AS Kigali. Sina joined the Blues this season from Police but has struggled to impress and has scored just 2 goals. Rayon Sports are currently 4th in the National Football League with 33 points, and their only hope for silverware is the Peace Cup. Moving on to athletics, Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge won the men's London Marathon with Ethiopia's Tigist Tufta victorious in the women's race. Kipchoge, the 5,000-meter world champion in 2003, finished 5 seconds in front of another Kenyan athlete, Wilson Kipsang. Kipchoge and Kipsang were level with 600 meters of their race left before the former moved ahead to win the race for the first time, clocking 2 hours, 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Kipsang, the 2012 and 2014 winner, came home ahead of world record holder Dennis Kimeto, who completed a Kenyan 1-2-3. In the women's race, 2014 Shanghai Marathon winner Tufa sprinted clear to finish in 2 hours, 23 minutes and 22 seconds and comfortably beat Kenya's 2-time London winner Mary Keitany. The Ethiopian was among a group of 9 with 3 miles to go before she and compatriot Tifit Segaye broke away from the rest. Tufa then moved clear alone to win by 18 seconds from Keitany, the 2011 and 2012 winner, with Segaye coming in third. On to rugby, the Lions extended their Super Rugby winning streak to 5 matches, while the Stormers edged past the Bulls in 2 different but equally mouth-watering derbies. The Lions extended their Super Rugby winning streak to 5 matches with a pulsating 34-29 victory over the Cheetahs at Ellis Park. Warwick, Takelberg, Rowan Combrick, Lion Mapoe and Faf de Klerk all went over the Lions, with Elton Yantes adding 14 points with the boot. Stormers closed out a 15-13 victory to leapfrog the Bulls at the top of the Super Rugby South African Conference at a sold-out Newland Stadium. It was the Bulls who scored the only try of the match through Bujon Bason, but Demetri Katrakilis' placed kicking was assured to keep the hosts' noses just in front. And finally, in football, over the weekend, Rwanda began its Olympic journey with a qualifier against Somalia. I was at the National Stadium Amahoro to bring you the latest from the match. National and under-23 coach John McKinstry promised an entertaining style of play prior to Rwanda's first leg match against Somalia on Saturday, but the performance was anything but that.
Well, first of all, obviously it's important and pleasing that we got the correct result. At this level of football, the result is ultimately the most important thing. So to be 2-0 up after the first leg of the tie is pleasing.
An early goal from Yannick Mukunzi seemed to set the team on what many thought would be a goal-scoring spree, but a lackluster performance later on ensured that Rwanda still have all to do when it comes to the second leg in Kenya. Somalia seemed to be the more tactically astute of the two sides, as their more deep defensive plan ensured Rwanda could only manage 4 shots on target in the entire game.
We try to maintain the shape in defense, from defensive to attacking and the midfield, but I think according to the situation, because we lacked some experience at the international level, and today we considered the first goal in first 90 minutes because of concentration, but they gained after that, and the last minute, 1 minute to the game, also I think that was concentration, but hope everything will be okay. We have seen our mistakes and then we are going to collect them second round.
Amavubi looked to be clueless in the final third, and not even the introduction of Isaac Muganza could spur on what seemed to be an out-of-sorts wasteful outfit.
Overall, my assessment is we could have done better. I thought our second half performance was probably below the standards we set ourselves. Probably a few too many technical errors. And so overall, when we get back on the training pitch next week, there's things we need to correct. At half time, we were reasonably satisfied and we wanted to push on in the second half. and for one reason or another, that didn't happen really.
Having lost 8 of his would-be match 23 just a few hours to the game, a 2-0 scoreline would seem comfortable and flattering as Rwanda sets its eyes on the Africa Junior Championships set for Senegal. Arnold Kwizera, Rise and Shine, Rwanda. Joining me in studio is veteran Voice of Africa journalist Romario Abdul-Jabbar. Welcome back to the show, Romario.
Thank you very much.
Romario, let's start with that match, Rwanda's under-23 versus Somalia. Somalia are the whooping boys of the region. Yeah. Everyone expected it to be an easy fixture for Amavubi. What went wrong?
Everyone thought that maybe it could be an easy game, but it's not the case, because if you try to flashback about Somalia's game in Sekafa, they have really improved. They're no longer getting 6-0, 5-0. No, it's not the case anymore. Now they lose at a small margin. It's not the case anymore. So I can see that their type of football is developing, is improving a little bit. It's quite different. And with the introduction of the Ugandan coaches who master very well the East African football, they know about Rwandan football, so they try to do everything possible to make it hard for Jonathan McKinstry boys.
Okay, the Ugandan coaches, you're talking about Charles Mbabazi and James Magala. Yeah. Before the match, just 24 hours before the match, John McKinstry had to change his whole lineup. 18 first-team players were not eligible to play in this game. 8. What's going on in Ferafa?
Well, there were 8 players who were ineligible to play. What is actually amazing is that this news came, just a day before. So it was actually very hard for the coach to change his team, and it's something that
he had to call in. Like the whole bench, all those players.
Absolutely.
If you watch the training on Wednesday, they were not there.
Absolutely, because these players who are ineligible to play were the boys, were the key boys who would have started the game. So it was actually very hard for the coach to change his plan and the game and preparing other players mentally. It was so hard for him, but good enough. They managed to walk away with the victory.
Yeah, but when you look at it, this is not the first time that the technical management is making such irrational decisions. You saw against when we were banned after Daddy Birori's saga. Yeah. Daddy Birori, again, that's an issue that the technical committee was supposed to know about. Are these the right people to take us forward into CHAN 2016?
I think I tried to gather information about this issue this morning. I tried to talk about, to discuss and chat with different people who have enough, information about it. So what I had, I was told this morning is that, they were supposed to have CAF licenses. These boys who played for APR in the Champions League, and Rayon Sport, the players who played for the CAF Confederation Cup, yes. They are supposed to play with, they are supposed to show their CAF licenses, again with the
birth certificate.
The service passports. Okay. So there are different kind of identities. This is what I had to discover. But eventually I realized that even from the club, they are the ones who make the mistake. But overall, who is supposed to know if everything is correct is the Ferwafa. I think the technical team should have tried before to see if everything is in place.
And then if everything you have a question about the team manager, because what's the role of a team manager, in this situation?
Yeah, I think that the team manager has to see if everything is well organized, if there is no this and so, if everything is correct. So I think he should have days before try to see, is everything correct? Do these identities really match? The service passport, does it actually match with the identity card?
Because you have issues of players forging names and birth and their age. Now, you were the first to break the story of APR players being banned. Eventually, the coach came to be banned for about 8 matches, 4 matches, the 2 coaches, Mugisha and Mashami. Was that the right punishment for them?
Well, first of all, I can say it won't be easy for me to say that it was the right punishment, because first of all, I wasn't there, and another thing is that the personality of the referee should also be questioned. Was he actually, did he give actually the right report? That's one thing.
Because there was a delay in his report. A report is supposed to be given within 24 hours
Yeah.
of the game. His came 2 weeks
Yeah.
after the game.
So you need to question about his personality. Was he actually getting influence to give a certain report that is going to suit and satisfy the interests of certain people? We have to look into that. But also, to me, I believe to avoid these kind of issues, there's something that has to be changed.
Like, what do you feel needs to be changed?
First of all, the referees committee must do something to avoid these things. First of all, I tried to talk to different referees. They told me some of the referees, when they are given to officiate a game between APR and Rayon Sports, some of them do not want to. Why? They are fearing. Why do they fear? And there are some others who do not fear. And sometimes they do take decisions, and people may think it's APR which is, on
Being
their
favored.
neck. Yet it is not the case. It's rather their personality. That's what I'm talking about. It's rather their personality. Instead of being APR forcing these people or putting pressure on them. There's some referees, today, it's only one referee that has always been officiating this game. Rui Hachizimana.
Yes.
Why? Because he's firm in his decisions. Nobody puts him under pressure.
And he's the best we have.
No, he's the best. He's the only one who officiates this game. Why? Because his personality is the right one.
So all in all, you feel we need to do more coaching courses for these referees?
Yeah, they need to. Not only that, because I believe they know the rules, but their personality sometimes is questionable. People may think it's APR that is influencing people, that is putting the referees under pressure. Yes, sometimes it's not the case. It's rather the personality of the referee himself. There are others who officiate these games and they walk away clean.
Okay, thank you very much, Romario. This is a conversation we can have on forever.
Yeah.
Romario Abdul-Jabbar from Voice of Africa. Regis and Makeda will be back after this short break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at newsmaking headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
The government has unveiled a new curriculum for nursery, primary, and secondary education. Officials have described the new curriculum as competence-based and is said to have inspired by Rwanda's economic development aspirations, such as the Second Economic Development and Poverty Reduction Strategy and Vision 2020. The hope is that it will potentially provide students with the critical skills they need to excel.
According to the Ministry of Disaster Management and Refugee Affairs, the number of Burundian refugees entering Rwanda is moving toward a record 17,000. Officials have confirmed that 2,683 people were received on Friday at reception centers in Bugesera, Nyanza, and Rusizi, and that the daily average is rapidly increasing. The rising numbers come after Kigali granted prima facie refugee status to those already in the country as per the Rwandan law relating to refugees and the 1951 Convention on Refugees.
Egypt has promised to support Rwanda's efforts to improve health services, particularly those to eliminate malaria. Malaria remains the leading cause of death worldwide, especially among children under the age of 5. Officials have confirmed that Rwanda and Egypt intend to boost bilateral relations through cooperation in the health sector and that the two countries have already held various meetings to strengthen cooperation. One of the plans that's set to take place is arranged visits by Egyptian doctors to carry out surgeries and treatment of various health complications in Rwanda.
The United States has signed a letter of agreement with the government of Rwanda for partnership on police peacekeeping. It's reported that under this agreement, the U.S. will provide Rwanda with training and other forms of support to the Rwanda National Police Forces deployed to United Nations and regional peacekeeping operations around the continent. Rwanda maintains a police and military contingent under MINUSCA.
And in regional news, at least 3 people have been killed in Burundi following President Pierre Nkurunziza's controversial launch bid for a 3rd term in office. Hundreds defied a ban on demonstrations by Burundian officials to take to the streets of the capital, Bujumbura. Police shot live ammunition in the air to disperse them. Police responded with tear gas, water cannon, and live ammunition, blocking access to the center of the capital. Opposition groups had promised protests if Nkurunziza ran, saying he will undermine a peace deal that has kept the country calm for decades since an ethnically fueled civil war ended in 2005.
Okay, lots more still to come. Lifestyle is up next. Plus, we take a look at what's hot right now in our daily debate section, Hot Topics. We'll be right back.
Connect to Lusaka 3 times a week starting 27th March. Enjoy comfort and safety at affordable fares to 17 other destinations across Africa and the Middle East.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Lifestyle now. She doesn't just have the money. She has other things. What do you have for us in lifestyle?
Yeah.
Right. What do you have for us?
Well, it's Motivation Monday, and today we get to talk about healthy snacks. So I know I love snacking myself. We all do actually at the office. We tend to work on it.
Right.
So here I'm determined to change that, and we're going to be eating healthy snacks from today onwards.
Okay.
Now that you're going to learn. So
Healthy snacks.
healthy
Okay.
snacks.
All right.
Now, snacking is a habit that most of us just can't seem to control. And as much as we think a little snack couldn't possibly ruin our diets, well, we're in for a big surprise. It is in that spirit that today we get to learn about healthy snacks and options that you can make, in everyday life. Take a look.
So today is a really exciting day because we're focusing on snacks. Snacks, usually we think about it as being unhealthy, but we want to show you some very healthy options, very tasty options, and very easy to make options. So that's really the focus for today.
I personally love snacks, so I'm excited about today.
Very good, very good. Let's get started.
When most of us think of snacks, we think cookies, chips, and of course, if you're like me, a sambusa or meatball here and there is music to your ears. And as much as these may seem like cheaper and better tasting options, they actually do not do any good to your diet plan. The first step towards changing your snacking habits to identify your craving and seeking healthier options to fulfill that craving. And here in this presentation, we see options like sweet peas and fruits being our snacks of preference for when you want to get over your sweet tooth, while carrots can act as a perfect crunchy snack, and of course my favorite guacamole, the perfect dip with healthy fats and a ton of yummy to fill your stomach.
So, Fidelis, thank you so much for making this delicious looking guacamole.
I'm the chef.
You are the chef. Well, you said you really like making it and eating
yeah.
it. So let's taste it.
In typical Fidelis mode, I could not keep myself from my guacamole treat. But remember, keeping a healthy snack on you could make all the difference in your eating habits. Kangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Okay, now the question is, and I know that this isn't just on my mind, it might be on people who's watching the show's mind, but do carrots really count as a snack? I mean, do you feel fulfilled after you eat snacks when you
Certainly.
want to, have something snackish?
Yeah, I didn't think of it at first either, because when I thought, like I said, also I'm a chips person,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes to guacamole, it's my heaven, literally. But you know what? It actually does. You feel so full after it, and because of the avocado and all these onions and all these other things that are in the guacamole, you feel really, really full. And at the end of the day, you can even feel good about having a snack because you're thinking, it was good stuff. I put good things in my body. So it's a
But
it's a
when
good
you
option.
think guacamole, you think, okay, I need some chips for, to eat with it,
Yeah.
or some toast, some
Yeah.
bread, or something
Yeah.
like that. What do you eat? What else can you eat with it?
So like we did in the video, we used carrots in the video, but you can use almost anything really, a fruit, anything that you prefer. Just keep away from anything oily, like we said, like the crisps or chapati, all these things. They're not a good option. And at the end of the day, when you're snacking, it's because you're actually not hungry, but you just want to feel full, really.
Right.
So there's a better way to do that. And a boiled egg, like we saw in the video, is a good option. An apple, like once or twice a day, is a really good option.
I think I saw some nuts in it.
Exactly. Also some nuts, and it doesn't have to be a whole huge serving. So like you say, you saw in the container, just a small handful is enough. And after you eat it, you still feel full, but you're thinking, it was healthy stuff. So
That's something I also wonder about. How healthy are nuts? Because I can snack on peanuts and like groundnuts or whatever all day. I love them, So how healthy are peanuts and things like that?
Well, like in the video, we use macadamia nuts, and even then, they're really high on fats as well. So what we did is, like I said, even when we did a special episode on portion control, just remember portion control is very important. So if you do it too much, then it goes into the bad bad part of it. But if you, like I said, one handful really is more than what you need for one day. So just portion that, one handful of peanuts, one apple, one boiled egg, and throughout the day, maybe after your breakfast you could have an apple, and then after your lunch you could have a handful of peanuts, and you feel really good, real full and still healthy stuff, like I said.
So are you trying to say that samosas and cookies
not a good option. at all.
Not
No.
even once or no, nothing.
Well, you know what I normally do even with my diet? I normally give myself, people don't do this, I give myself 1 day off where I can eat whatever I want.
Okay.
But don't do it. I don't encourage it. I don't encourage it with anybody.
But
just don't do it.
It helps with sanity, I think.
But
It
yeah,
helps to keep you sane.
exactly. Because you think, you know what, maybe I'm on a diet, but I'm not overdoing it. I'm still normal. I can still have a sambusa once a week. But it's not a good option, really. Just don't do it.
So do you think that this is something that you could get used to? Because I look at these snacks and they look great, but I don't know if I could replace my, you know, my sweet snacks or my cookies and things like that. So is this something that you could get used to if you force yourself to have good, healthy snacks, maybe not even wanting the other stuff anymore?
Yeah, I always say the best way to think of it is think of it as a life change, not more of a diet. Because when you think of it as a diet, then it becomes like a load on you. Then you think it's like a punishment. So don't think of it in that sense. Think of it as a life change that you're trying to do. So it's not just something you're doing for a short period of time, something that you want to do for the long run. Even when you're at work on another day, just do it every day. And the other thing is, the good thing about these snacks is you could buy a samosa for, let's say, 300 francs, and you could buy like a whole lots of carrots in 300, you know, for 300 francs. So it's cheap and it's really healthy. So think of it in that sense. If you're economical like myself, when you hear the word cheap, you're good to go. Like whatever it is, I'll be doing it. So it's really cheap and it's really healthy.
Okay, Fidel is bringing the Motivation Monday and the money,
And the
all
money,
at the same
all at the
time.
same time,
I
yeah.
love it. Multitasking.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And you don't go anywhere. Not lifestyle. Hot Topics is coming up next. Welcome back, and it's time for Hot Topics again. As always, the Rise and Shine team have been out and about gathering everything you need to know about what's happening here and abroad, from what's trending on Twitter to the debates in your local cafe. We've got it for you right here and right now. And speaking of Twitter and trending, it seems like everything, and it's actually a good thing, but everyone is talking about, you know, just the dire state of the world right now. And one of the things that is kind of everywhere is Nepal. Prayers for Nepal. There has been a really big earthquake, 7.8 on the Richter scale, and it's claimed around 2,000 lives so far. 5,000 people have been injured, and those numbers are rising. It's just, you know, what's been found. It's extremely devastating, and it's not only that's actually on everyone's lips right now. Regionally, there's also the situation in Burundi.
What's happening in Burundi is really sad. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll be able to speak to authorities in charge of, you know, welcoming the refugees here and taking good care of them for Rise and Shine Rwanda. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about that. But about 17,000 and more refugees have crossed the border towards Rwanda. The last days have been really bad after the president announced that he will run for a third term. It's looking worse and worse. Because before, when you think about what's happening in Burundi, and Arnold can correct me, we've had when Bagaza left power and then Pierre Buyoya became president, and then there were the elections, the infamous elections where Melchior Ndadaye became president, and there was a lot of violence there, and then after that you had Ntibantunganya and you had Haryamira. So it's been really bad. Lately, with what's happening on the street, like with the tear gas, and you know, some people have been killed. You know, so it's gotten really bad. I'll let Arnold talk about it, but it's really bad at the moment.
As of yesterday, about 4 or 5 private radio stations had been shut down in the capital, Bujumbura. Even on the outskirts, there were pictures all over social media showing 3 ministers, one of them being the Minister of Interior Affairs in Burundi, being at a private radio station with a group of policemen shutting down the radio station, and the only radio station currently able to transmit in Burundi is what they would call a pro-government radio station, which is putting up songs praising the incumbent president. Right. But again, a very controversial decision, not the first that we've seen in the region. I think it happened in Kampala, in Uganda, when the current president was going for his 3rd term. By yesterday evening, it had calmed down. There wasn't as much tear gas and confrontation. There are peaceful protests within the capital, Bujumbura. People are walking with their hands up, you know, and all these videos are now.
Some of them even sitting on the streets.
Yeah, protesting on the streets. just, I think, hopefully the African Union chairman, Dr. Zuma, came out with a statement saying that Africa should get a quick solution, amicable solution. The parties should come and start talking. That's the opposition. And
Arnold, I have a question for you. I tweeted earlier that if Burundi was a petroleum-driven economy, the international community will have gotten involved already. Something will have happened. What's taking so long for response?
Burundi is one of the 5 poorest countries in the world. That's one, and it's the most densely populated country in the world. It's not as rich, despite having the methane gas with Lake Tanganyika. But I think not a lot of international interest is being put towards Burundi. They won't care as much. Again, the world may be waiting to say never again.
Right.
With Burundi as they...
Instead of doing something.
Yeah, and the irony, again, is Dr. Zuma comes out to talk about this, chairman, and she didn't have a statement when xenophobia attacks were being put down in South Africa.
Yeah.
So...
Just like I said last week, and I'm going to say it again, it always comes down to good leadership. If the leadership is not as good as it's supposed to be, then that's it. It's not going to work. And
this is
really
a country that's truly dear to my heart. It's really, it's hard. It's hard
we
to take it in.
We share a lot in common with Burundi, I think. We share a lot in common.
I think it's now just to see what transpires, and it's just important for us to know that, we still have our prayers going out there, our good vibes going out there, and hopefully, things can...
And the refugees are getting as far as Kenya. By yesterday, the Kenyan government was saying they've received about 1,000 Burundian refugees, and numbers, I think by tomorrow, by Tuesday, numbers will be at about 25,000 refugees.
Again, tomorrow we'll try to get some specialists to come and talk about what's happening.
I think there'll be a focus on that tomorrow.
We're praying for you guys.
Well, don't forget that we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports that we upload daily. Follow us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We're always posting photos. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website. Well, that's all the time that we have for today, but we love to hear your feedback, so do let us know if you have any ideas for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahadio.
And me, Regis Sheja. We'll be here, same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and this beautiful team here, have a great day.
A great week.
Bye-bye.